Shouts out to my boy for the video idea.
Fuck you, fascist!
Yo, what's up everyone, and long time no see. I apologize for the wait, I really do, but since today is my birthday, I wanted to do something special. Today, we're doing the ultimate I-beam contest. Because low-key, this power seems like such a basic ability, but it's really not. Because imagine being able to shave yourself with a glance. You know how much money that will save? Or burning anyone who talks down on you to a pile of cinders, bro. It's pretty powerful. But still, with the exception of Cyclops, a lot of writers and people in general treat it as a secondary ability or just forget about it altogether, even though some of the greatest historical figures have the predecessors to this power, like Horus in his right eye symbolizing the sun. Whoever was in his gaze received protection. And of course, Medusa in her eyes. But to no one's surprise, Superman is the first person that really put this power on the map back in 1949. There, he used the full strength of his X-ray vision to melt a glacier before laser beams were even a thing. Which honestly, I don't even think that makes sense. Does that make sense to y'all? And coincidentally, DC didn't even call this power heat vision until a year after laser beams were invented in 1961. Over time, many different people and creatures put their own spin on it, and this power evolved into many different variations that do different things, like optic blasts, photon beams, ultraviolet beams, and a bunch of others. And we'll touch on that, but that's not the point of this video. The point is, whose I-beams are the best in these categories? And more importantly, who has the most powerful I-beams in all of comics? And the only way we can solve this is if we go through each and every I-beam user that's worth talking about from any comic. Except for manga, because that would take forever, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, we'll do it from weakest to strongest. So get your popcorn and pitchforks ready, because today we're finally gonna decide once and for all who has the most powerful I-beams in comics. Starting with a hero that you would have never expected to be on this list, but still technically qualifies. Jack. And hear me out, The Incredibles came out with a comic book series shortly after the release of the first movie, and then again with the second movie, which I had no idea about, and over there he did some pretty cool things, and that's the only reason why he's here. Even though this superpowered baby can do almost anything, his powers aren't nearly as strong as his adult counterparts, which makes sense. And that also goes for his laser vision, which is in fact heat vision because he left fire trails on the grass during that epic 1v1 with Rigby. Even as a baby, the little dude was burning cement and rock during the fight and completely decimated an animatronic at the zoo. It's to the point where even his own dad was starting to use him as a weapon. But even with all those feats, there's not really that much to say because he barely did anything with it and he's a baby, you know? So yeah, he's still understandably at the bottom of the totem pole. Now next we have Titano, an obscure Superman villain that's not exactly a villain, but more a misunderstood monkey that never asks for what happened to him. Being a space travel test subject without his consent, he was exposed to radiation that would make him grow to King Kong-like sizes and sometimes had the ability to shoot kryptonite beams from his eyes. These very beams f***ed up Supes multiple times, causing him to realize that he couldn't beat him as he was. So he has to resort to using a lead suit just to defeat this guy, which is something Jack could never do, of course. But even though he has the power to defeat Superman, the reason he's so far down is because even with kryptonite, he still can't beat him. All Supes has to do is go home and get the suit, which he does every time. Either that or he just outsmarts him. Plus, these beams can be cancerous when used on other humans and creatures, but only after a prolonged period of time, which we see with Lex Luthor when he got cancer from a kryptonite ring that he constantly wore for years on end. Since this beam is strong and concentrated, if a human got hit, they would have to stay under there from anywhere from like a couple minutes to days, maybe weeks, before someone will feel sick or something. Plus, since there's no kind of force behind these beams, it wouldn't really matter if he used it in a fight anyways, unless it's with Superman. So yeah, even though he's strong, his I-beams are not. Which brings us to our next character, Homelander. So I'm not gonna lie, before I did the research for this video, I thought Homelander was the bee's knees, bro, because this dude was demolishing people. Being a test subject for Vault almost since birth, he had Compound V pumped into him since before he could even remember, making him one of the strongest figures in the boys' verse. Feared by everyone he knows, he literally kills several people on a Sunday afternoon and still has some time to drink milk straight from the source. But the best part about it all is that he does almost everything with his heat vision, which is really cool. Like, I don't care what anyone says, he's definitely one of the people that showed how awesome this power really is. But compared to everyone else on this list, he's really only better than a baby. Let's look at his feats, right? First off, he killed a staggering amount of people. He can completely decimate any normal human and can cause third-degree burns to a woman that's been alive since the 40s but still looks really young, like she's Vandal Savage or Pharrell. Straight up melts guns and cuts planes in half, which would take around 92 megawatts of power to do if you factor in the type of plane it is, how long it takes for him to cut it, which is 0.7 seconds, and the fact that it's all a bit molten afterwards. Like, I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty powerful. The only problem is that's the best feat he has. We've yet to see anything better than this. Plus, Butcher just got his eye beams and he was already matching Homelander. And I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty crazy. I bet even that baby has better heat vision than Homelander. So yeah, he's definitely powerful in other ways, but in a straight up beam fight, he will lose to everyone else on this list, especially
Cyclops! I know how you feel about it, Wolverine, but...
This man needs no introduction. X-Men 97 aside, Cyclops has so many feats under his belt that I have to separate him into two different versions. Before meeting Professor X, his past was far from easy. Some could even say it was uncanny. Him, his brother, and their parents were in a plane that was piloted by their father, because he's also a pilot. While they were out enjoying life, they get sideswiped by a spacecraft, and right then and there, their parents get abducted and haven't been seen by them ever since. Well, technically he does eventually see them, but we're not talking about that. Scott goes into the foster system, and he soon meets his father figure and role model, Professor X, when he was a teenager. X taught him focus and control, and entrusted Scott to lead the X-Men. Along the way, he met the love of his life, and it was only for the love for his team and her that he discovered how powerful he truly was. From making quick work of some goons to blasting an entire half of a giant Krakoan space alien apart in one blast, this man has so many feats that you can barely count them. He's done big damage to powerhouses like Magneto, and even shattered his helmet, which I'm sure is made of various really strong metals, completely obliterated Wolverine, knocks down one of Apocalypse's forms, actually murders Mr. Sinister, has enough skill to use his surroundings to his benefit by bouncing his blast off of reflective areas to hit his target in a split second. I can go on and on, man. Like, this dude is legit. I'm a Cyclops fan, bro. I don't care what y'all say. But his biggest feats to date is when he shot a hole right through the Blob's shoulder, which is someone that's tanked hits from the Hulk and Grey Hulk while laughing. Utterly destroyed a Sentinel and the surrounding area in Uncanny X-Men, taking out Master Mold by himself, tearing the skin off of World War Hulk, one-shotting dinosaurs, alien monsters, man. He's done some amazing things with his power, Loki. And technically, I'm not even finished yet because this is just his normal self. Dark Phoenix Cyclops is way higher, but for right now, his normal self still gets outclassed by the next characters on this list. Like the freaking Powerpuff Girls, bro. And before you say it, yes, they do have comics. I just don't want to admit it, you know, especially since the Powerpuff Girls are so inconsistent when it comes to their powers. Like right here when Buttercup's eye beams were bouncing off this chicken thing, when in the past they took out entire meteors and evaporated large bodies of water in a really short period of time. Do you know how much heat that takes to evaporate an entire lake in like 5 seconds? Cause I don't, but it's a lot. I'm pretty sure it takes a bunch of heat to do. So I'm pretty sure them three can definitely beat normal Cyclops in an I-beam fight. Because yes, even though Cyclops has beaten a few monsters with his blast, they literally do that on the regular. Plus, when Bubbles puts on some freaking glasses of all things, she was able to disintegrate this monster by herself when it didn't even flinch with their normal eye beams. So if all three of them decide it's just spectacle day or something, Cyclops is screwed, and probably a lot of other people on this list. Plus, just like him, they show amazing control with their power, and yeah, man, I'm pretty sure they're stronger than a lot of freaking people. Actually, a lot more than I'm giving credit to. But the thing is, only if they're together. Individually, when it comes to eye beams at least, they're probably only stronger than Homelander, but together the sky is literally the limit. But from what I've seen so far, I think this placement is good for them. Alright, next we have Apollo, who's known as like the feminine Superman for some reason. but he's a part of this superhero team called the Authority, an altruistic team that's on paper another Justice League, but instead they kill people. They have members that are clearly inspired from several Justice League characters, one of them being Apollo, the Superman stand-in and the most moral out of all the team. He also dates the Midnighter, which is pretty much Batman but with super strength. But don't let this quote-unquote feminine reputation fool you, bro, because this dude goes crazy. He was already known as being Superman level powerful and has the same abilities, but instead of cold breath, he can shoot solar energy out of every part of his body. Oh, I mean, hopefully not every part.
Like, does it just come out of your wrists, or does it come out of anywhere else?
But yeah, including his eyes, which are constructed to channel solar energy into laser-like blasts. So it's pretty much concentrated sunlight with a lot of force behind him. So I guess you can call these solar beams. And bro, this dude is a trip, man. Like, he created firestorms just for dramatic effect. He's able to melt armor designed to defeat him, which is just like Superman using one of his powers to defeat someone using a kryptonite suit. Since his powers rely solely on his proximity to sunlight, given that he was in an enclosed room with someone that had a suit made out of his weakness, and he still had enough power to melt said suit with his solar vision, imagine how powerful he is when he's at his best. Well, luckily you don't have to imagine, I'll tell you. He sterilized the entire surface of the moon of an alien infection that inhabited it, which means he heated up the moon to make it so hot that it disintegrated all forms of alien life on the surface. I've never been a math guy, but I can't even calculate how much power you would have to put out in order to achieve that feat. But the craziest thing about all of that is that there's still more characters with crazier feats, like Hyperion. Sent to Earth as a baby, he was raised by agents of the United States government in a secret government compound by a pseudo family, under the disguise of a normal childhood with the name Mark Milton. But bro, even though the man is pretty cool and has done some spectacular shit, him being called a Superman ripoff is an understatement, man, because his powers are the exact same as Superman's. But he also has a rapid healing factor using solar energy, and it even slows down his aging like Wolverine. Also, when it comes to his atomic vision, a nice change, Marvel, but it's literally the same thing. It doesn't really stack up to the rest of the contenders, but still, the dude is strong as f***, I'll be honest. The dude's beams are literally light speed, and he shows that when he was able to hit one of the Beyonders, people that completely flattened the manifestation of the entire Marvel multiverse. But the thing is, those beams didn't do anything once it hit, and those beings can create stars, so we pretty much found his limit. He can't really do anything to people on a cosmic scale, but he did push back the Hulk, which is something Cyclops could do, but he also one-shotted a literal god, even though it was a surprise, cheap shot, you know? But it's still something Cyclops, the Powerpuff Girls, and I don't even think Apollo could do. Notice how I didn't even say Homelander? But yeah, so that's why he's up here. But above him, we have Ikaris. Being born over 1 million years ago, this man is viewed as the strongest of the Eternals, aside from Thanos, of course, which are beings created from the Celestials to watch over the world. I mean, that sounds pretty powerful, right? At least not when it comes to his eye beams, because he's such a mixed bag, man. When it comes to scaling, it seems like he's kind of interchangeable between the last two characters, because even though he doesn't have that many feats, I still think the feats he does have are pretty powerful. Not counting the movie though, because they made him look so weak in that. In the comics though, he melts Ares, the literal god of war's axe. The same axe that he draws power from, and can actually cut the likes of Hercules, which is something normal and even some magic weapons can't even do. The axe also cuts Sentry and Blue Marvel. These characters are some of the most durable heroes in the whole verse, and he melted a weapon that can technically defeat them. He also hurted someone that chills in stars for the fun of it in Silver Surfer, and he was able to do all of that with his cosmic eye beams. A power that I don't even fully understand, but to my understanding, it's just pure energy. Remnants from creation itself all throughout space and time, and it can be used for anything they want. So in simple terms, you can tap into the energy of the cosmos and whatever is in it, be it any star, planets, quasars, or whatever they're called, you name it, which is pretty insane. But since he's barely used the power, all of this is really solely based on conjecture. So I think this is a really good placement for him. Now next, we have, and nobody's gonna expect this one, Martian Manhunter. And trust me, this was really hard to rank, I'm not gonna lie to you. So he does have heat vision, but in the comics, it's called Martian vision. Being kind of like a Superman stand-in in his beginner days, he got the name Martian Manhunter from being a policeman back on Mars, and Manhunters are just another name for people in that occupation. Now with his new identity on Earth as a policeman/detective, the name Martian Manhunter just fits. And when it comes to his vision powers, he has the exact same ones as the Man of Steel, but he just doesn't have that many feats with him. The dude is a powerhouse though. Like, for one, he's beaten the entire league 3 times, he's matched Superman with his heat vision before, and even has the power to hit intangible people with his heat vision. He melted the face of Black Adam, who's the vessel of 7 literal gods, so even though he's not technically a god himself, he's the closest to a god you can get. And he drilled through the Earth's mantle, reached the Earth's core, and caused an extinction event capable of destroying the entire world. And this is one of the main reasons he's this high up. The icing on the cake though is when he killed Furnace with it, which is an alien that utterly demolished the entire Justice League to the point where it just started toying with him. But yeah, those are the 2 best feats with this power. But that brings in some bad things, right? One could argue that he was only able to drill to the Earth's core with Superman's help, because he did in fact do it with Superman. He wasn't alone. And when it comes to Furnace, he is Furnace. This creature is Martian Manhunter's hidden potential, one where his fear is completely gone. So he basically killed the evil that lied dormant within him. Of course his beams hurt Furnace because his powers would most likely be the ones that hurt him the most more than anyone else's. So him being able to keep up with Superman when it comes to his heat vision is an amazing accomplishment, especially since he's beaten Thor before, which, if y'all don't know, Thor is powerful as heck, bro. The MCU screwed him over. So because of that, that's really the sole reason why he's so far up. Because I don't think there's many people below that can keep up with Superman. But despite everything, I think he still falls short to these characters. Like the Gladiator. I'm not sure how many people are aware of this, but this dude can most likely demolish anyone you throw at him with heat vision alone. He's a member of a powerful alien race called the Stratians. I hope I said that. Strodians? The Strodums? But nah, jokes aside, this dude is incredibly powerful because his power level is based off of the confidence he has within himself, which means his power grows to an almost infinite level depending on how confident he is. And since he's pretty narcissistic, this dude is incredibly strong. But unlike somebody, he actually has the feats to back it up. Like when he whooped the Avengers like it was nothing, completely blasting back Iron Man, and even pimp slapping Captain Marvel of all people. Shattered asteroids without even trying, which took all 3 Powerpuff Girls to do. Caused incredible pain to Jane Foster that was so bad that she literally wanted to Google his name. That's how powerful this man's beams are. And let me remind y'all, she's a god, bro. But his biggest feat is when he burned the skin off of Galactus. Like, dude, with Doctor Strange saying that he's the most formidable mortal Galactus has ever went against. Like, how powerful do you have to be to burn the skin off of a cosmic entity? And yet he's still not the best when it comes to his power, even though it's been said that his eye beams are just as, if not hotter than stars. Not to mention he completely decimated a whole battalion of Nova Corps soldiers, which Homelander could never. But still though, there still are other characters that have stronger optic blasts. And this is where it starts getting real. So here it goes, and remember, this is purely eye beams. Overall power will be another video. Let's move on to Mr. Majestic, formerly known as Lord Magistros. He was a powerful warlord from the planet Kara, but became stranded on Earth 1,000 or so years ago after a run-in with an alien species. Once he came to Earth, he devoted his life to the greater good, deciding to battle all forms of evil instead of his enemy, which is pretty good. I'm glad he did that. But holy this dude is insane, especially with his heat vision. For one, he one-shots multiple people and is able to chemically alter some hazardous creatures similar to that of what Cyclops does against Mr. Sinister. Destroys a giant Empire State Building sized robot that's immune to all weaponry with pretty much his heat vision alone. Can harm beings made of purely fire, which is confusing because he has heat vision, so it's like heat damaging fire. How do you do that? With the use of a star ingot, he was able to create a star by superheating it to where it's hot enough to take the place of the sun for a bit, so that when he moved the Earth, nothing crazy would happen to it the further away it got from the sun. And he also gathered a bunch of asteroids around Mars and melded them together with his heat vision to form rings around the planet. and completely superheats Jupiter, altering its chemical composition at a pre-atomic level and basically makes an entirely new planet. All in the hopes of carrying out a plan to decorate the solar system in such a way that it's unrecognizable to a planet-ending threat on its way. If you've never heard of Mr. Majestic, you need to definitely read Mr. Majestic #1 because it's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie to you. It really shows how powerful he is, and he's definitely one of the better Superman knockoffs. I think his beams will beat everyone else on this list so far because of the things he's done, and more importantly, because he has the feats to back it up. But he still couldn't beat Thanos. And guys, don't even play. Even though he barely uses his I-beams, which are by the way the same as Ikaris's for the most part, you know he can beat everyone else on this list, bro. Especially if he gets the Cosmic Cube, but we're not even gonna talk about his power-ups or anything. But anyways, even though Mr. Majestic was able to do all of that with his heat vision, when you consider the fact that Thanos can one-shot a clone of himself with it, which, keep in mind, Thanos is an Eternal and a Deviant. This man has tanked Cosmic Blast from the Silver Surfer, survived a black hole, and more importantly, an enraged Galactus that was really trying to end his life, bro. This dude is crazy durable, so that's for sure a strong vision, and can defeat the Hulk with I-beams alone. And I'm not even gonna talk about how strong the Hulk is, y'all already know. This man has universal feats, bro. And lastly, he's able to knock out the Thing, and more importantly, a fully aware, highly alert Thor in a single blast. Not like when an earlier character sneaked him without him knowing, but he saw it coming and most likely braced for impact. And yet he still knocked him out or was pretty close to doing it, which again is someone who can survive planet-busting beams, bro. But from here on, this is when the placements get tricky. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm fully expecting some pitchforks or something to be hurled at me, but it is what it is. The next most powerful I-beams in all of comics has to be Darkseid's avatar. Look, I do not think Darkseid's Omega beams are stronger than Superman's anymore, but only if we consider everything these two have done. If we're only taking into consideration what's canon, like right now, then Rebirth Darkseid has to be the strongest out of the two. And to be honest, I still firmly believe he's over Superman in general, but since most people like to give examples from everything they ever did, Superman wins this. And here's why. So of course Darkseid beats everyone else prior to this, right? And I could really end this with one example, but y'all really need to understand how powerful he is. First off, he can destroy planets right off the bat, which already knocks out everyone except for maybe Mr. Majestic, because his Omega beams are pure destructive force. And once it hits you, it will blast you right out of existence. Like there's no in between. No heaven, no hell, nothing like that, bro. You're out of here. Plus it's light speed, being able to catch up and more likely hit the Flash and Superman, people that's able to turn back time with their speed before. They can also teleport people to another place once they hit someone or something, can place people into a perpetual cycle to where they're living a meaningless life over and over again, and can even resurrect the dead, but only to the people he killed with these beams, which is why he chooses to kill his followers with it as punishment. That way he can bring them back whenever he wants to. They're also able to track their target and go through other objects all in order to hit him. And as for the feats, he defeated Doomsday, Superman multiple times, and has hurted the Anti-Monitor, which is insane because this dude has destroyed multiple universes. Not one, but more than 5, bro. And pre-New 52, he took out an infinite number. So why in the name does Superman have more power with his heat vision than someone that's able to hurt a multi-universal level threat? Well, it's because he has plot armor. Nah, just kidding. Okay, I'll just play out. But bro, he's freaking Superman. I'm not even gonna explain his story, but man, this dude is a low-key god tier. A lot of people hate on him, me included, because he was like your typical Boy Scout, you know? He's not really that interesting. But he's much more than that. He's the embodiment of hope and control. And he constantly has to keep himself at bay for other people's sakes. But bro, when he lets that thing rip, literally nothing can stop him. Like when he screwed an intangible enemy over because his beams work at a molecular level. Or when he matched the Eradicator's heat vision, whose vision is as hot as the sun's core. He's able to superheat some freaking water into a mini supernova. And you already know about him creating an extinction level Earth event with Martian Manhunter. He's cut mile-wide asteroids in half and superheated the entire Earth for some strange reason. I don't know why anyone would do that though. I did not read that comic. I probably should. And just like that, he's past planet level. Cause who else can do a blast like this, bro? Who? Literally no one. But okay, let's move on past the planets. Like when he used his heat vision to vaporize an entire alien ship several times larger than the Earth. And that's not even an understatement, bro. Look at this. That right there, that's the Earth. Superman and Darkseid are way smaller than ants on there. We all are. And as far as I know, Darkseid can't manipulate the size of his beams. So those tiny little beams compared to that would most likely get decimated, especially since Darkseid's beams are a little inconsistent. Like when Wonder Woman and Batman was able to deflect and dodge him. Darkseid should be god tier, something akin to that, and those beams should vaporize anything it touches, but a lot of people, more than it should be, has gotten around him. And if they do somehow cut through Superman's heat vision, which is something that technically should happen if he was shown to be more consistent, then imagine if Superman concentrated that immense strength down to the size of a normal blast while keeping that maximum strength. There is no way Darkseid can win. Oh, and that's right, I also forgot to mention how he healed reality with these things. What the f? But yeah, he repaired reality with these, which to me doesn't even make sense. Like, so that brings up the question, is it just heat vision he has? Or is it something more? If y'all know, let me know. Or maybe it's just heat vision. Not only that, but he's already beaten Darkseid with them in the comics. He's both deflected and beaten them before. So from what I've seen so far, even though I still think Darkseid has the most powerful I-beams out of the two on paper, Superman has shown numerous times that over time his beams has grown to a level that surpasses even Darkseid's, which sucks, but it is what it is. And that's not even counting Superman 1 million or Cosmic Armor Soups, since one is him in a far-off future that might not even be canon anymore, and the other is a fusion high of Ultraman and Superman. Whereas Darkseid's true form is actually him. Like, it's straight up him. Like, there's no other forms. I guess it's technically another form, but not in the same sense as Cosmic Armor or Superman 1 million. This is actually him, and it's actually canon. Which means true form Darkseid's Omega beams are potentially anywhere from 5 to 100 times more powerful than normal. And that is something Superman cannot handle. We see that when he uses his I-beams to defeat a superpowered Tartarus, which is pretty much Thanos, and this dude was able to crack the multiverse with his attacks. Screwed over the highest order of beings in the multiverse with these purple Omega beams, and also hurt the Empty Hand as well, another omnipotent entity of darkness. To the point where he was like,
"Damn, son,
that's pretty strong." And even though he lost the fight, he went out like a G. And I guarantee you that Superman cannot hold a candle to this deity unless he's Superman 1 million or something like that. And okay, before we get to number 1, let's move on to the speed round, where I talk about who has the best I-beams in these categories. First, we have speed. And it's either a toss-up between Hyperion and Darkseid for the fastest I-beams in comics. But I mean, Hyperion only has this one feat, right? Whereas Darkseid's beams can keep up with the freaking Flash. Like, bro, the same person that can travel through time to get a home-cooked meal whenever he wants. So without a doubt, Darkseid's beams are in fact the fastest in all of comics. Now let's move on to the most unique. And for this one, this is solely based on looks, you know, like whichever one's look the coolest or does like different things, you know what I mean? Something we've never really seen before. And I've gotta admit, some good high reps are Starfire and Jack because theirs is green. Captain Marvel, because imagine a Super Saiyan being able to shoot I-beams, bro. That would be pretty legit. I'm not gonna lie to you. And Bizarro and Iceman with their ice I-beams. Those are really cool, to be honest, and also really unique. Like, I never even knew that was a thing. But out of everybody, I've gotta give it to Mechagodzilla. Because I mean, come on! These things have the power to instantaneously destroy almost anything, and they look cool. Like you can see the whole color spectrum, bro. That's pretty cool. I don't know, I like that. So yeah, congrats to this thing. You know, I know he's not on the list, but it's still pretty cool. And lastly, we have the most versatile. And to be honest, this one is kind of hard because Bizarro and Iceman can cool down anything, but of course that's really it. And if I broke my leg or something, I could make an ice pack or cool down some food or freeze someone, but I mean, that's really it. And to be honest, in the real world, I wouldn't really use it that much, nor if I was like a superhero or villain over there. Like, I don't know, it's like, there's better ones. But with Darkseid's Omega Beam, you would literally be unstoppable. Like in the real world, I could use it on myself and teleport to like the grocery store or back to my hometown or something. Like, you know how much money that would save? I could also use it on other people too. You could also kill someone and bring them back to life, which I'm pretty sure I wouldn't use. And it would make taking out the trash so easy, because you could just vaporize any trash you have, so no more garbage bags. Like, you're just saving money with this power, bro. Whereas heat vision, you could warm up all kinds of food, shave yourself, keep yourself warm from the cold, heat up your clothes to where you don't need a dryer anymore. And if it's hot enough, you could possibly disintegrate anything you want, including trash and stuff like that, but it will most likely leave a lingering smell. So to be honest, I gotta give it to the Omega Beams too. I think for sure these are the most versatile out of everything. Okay, now for the strongest I-beam user in all of comics. And I'm pretty sure you all saw this coming. It is for sure Galactus. This dude is crazy. I mean, he eats worlds for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and is one of the most powerful beings in all of Marvel. If you ever see him, you're literally screwed, and that goes for his I-beams. Being able to defeat Gladiator pretty easily for the most part is insane, because Gladiator can give anybody, and I mean anybody, a run for their money, no matter how powerful they are. He keeps the Silver Surfer at bay, which again, he just casually chills in stars, and truthfully, the Surfer is way stronger and more durable than this. Like, he's actually one of the most powerful beings in Marvel, and is that way because of the power cosmic, which are powers Galactus gave him. He uses these beams to keep up with powerful reality warpers such as Screer, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, and the other, which is something I don't think anyone except for maybe Darkseid, and of course a super amped up Superman can do, maybe. And that's a maybe on the Superman thing, since his OP forms are largely conjecture at the moment, because there's not many feats that he did with them. But anyway, he's also hurted the Celestials with these beams, and I'm pretty sure he can kill them if he really wanted to, because he's done it before. And these things created the entire multiverse. Not just the universe, but the multiverse, and pretty much all life, including Thanos, since they created the Celestials. And there is no freaking way heat vision should do much to a freaking Celestial, bro, unless again, he's in his other forms. So yes, without a doubt in my mind, Galactus has the most powerful I-beams in all of comics. And when it comes to their power-up forms and their I-beams, I'm gonna do it like this, right? I gotta give it to God Thanos. He's in 4th place because he was able to warp reality with his I-beams, but that was it. We haven't seen anything else with his I-beams. Dark Phoenix Cyclops is in 3rd place because he was demolishing the Avengers with everything he has, everywhere, all at once, with those beams. And just having the Phoenix Force in general is powerful, because the essence of this force is life and reality itself. In 2nd place, we have Lifebringer Galactus because he's able to kill the highest level of gods in the Marvelverse, and Superman 1,000,000 at 1st place because he created his own reality. You know, he made his own wife and can bestow powers to other people, which is how you know you're strong, if you're able to just give. To be honest, 1st place is really a toss-up between Lifebringer Galactus and Superman 1,000,000, but again, all of this is largely based on conjecture. But hey, I'm not perfect, so if I missed anyone or anything, and if there's any details I got wrong, please let me know. Making this video was difficult and it took a lot of work, but it was also pretty fun. And I want to make other kinds of videos like this, so if y'all want to see more, let me know and like and subscribe. But yeah, okay, I'm finally gonna sleep now, bro, so I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace out.